Blog Talk Radio.
Are you tired of the same old radio?
Sure am.
Need an outlet to show who you are?
Oh, yeah.
You want to hear great TV reviews and original shows?
Sounds good.
Or just new ways to keep up on the Jags?
Let's go, Jags. Woo, woo, woo.
Join us on Teal Time Radio.
The station that matters. 'Cause you matter.
Welcome to Teal Time Radio. This is your host, C.T. Jags. Alongside of me, the beautiful Miss Chrissy.
Hey, everybody.
Joining us, the wonderful Mandy.
Hi, everybody. Happy Sunday.
And it's a great Father's Day today. And we're actually interviewing this great rapper. He's been around the block since the 90s. His name's Jack Nicklez.
Great music.
Matter of fact, Mandy wrote a little piece. You want to share about your piece a little bit?
Sure. He started rapping at in 1990. Actually, he started doing his thing, and people have somehow felt that he was sent from the gods to bring back original and genuine hip hop. And other people have said that he has been put in the background too much and is overlooked by society. But I think that everybody has to start somewhere, and he is actually opening the Bodega Beat store, or Bodega Beat shop, where he will be selling his beats for about $60 or a package deal. So he's really trying to communicate and get in touch with the people that he's influenced, and he was influenced by Jay-Z, Method Man. So he's just a regular guy who's just trying to do his thing while still keeping that down-to-earth side and keeping in touch with the people around him.
Well, that's a wonderful summary of the piece you did. All right. Now, I'm sure the audience just wants to get on with it. So we're going to call him right now.
Hello?
Hi, is this Jack Nicklez?
Yes, it is.
Yes, you're on the air with Teal Time Radio. How are you tonight?
Man, doing good. Enjoying a good Father's Day.
Well, that's good.
That's good to hear. We're glad to hear it.
Well, I'm glad to be on.
Hey.
Well, thank you. We're lucky to have you on.
Oh,
yeah,
you make me feel so special.
Well, we have a bunch of questions to ask you. I'm going to start with hey, Mandy. Mandy's the one that did the piece on you?
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. It was really cool to learn a lot about you today and to see who your influences were and to see how long you've actually been in the industry for. My question for you is, when people say that you are from another planet and you're not from, like, Earth, you're just out there and brought here almost as, like, a gift to give us original hip-hop again, what planet do you think that they're referring to?
Well, they always say men are from Mars, so I would say I'm from Mars. I'm out there. The reason why I say I'm always out there is because there's a lot of stuff I do you don't normally see with a lot of guys. I write very quickly when it comes to writing songs during our sessions. I talk about just stuff that's out there. I don't really normally talk about like the normal, gunplay. I'm going to the club, throwing up, millions and millions of dollars in the VIP. I talk about like the weirdest things. So Mars, or actually Pluto, anything that's just far, far, far out there would probably be the best place to describe me from.
Pluto isn't a planet anymore, so we'll give you like Venus or Jupiter or Saturn. How about that?
I'll work with that.
Okay, you came from the rings of Saturn.
Ooh, that's nice. I gotta rewrite my bio now. I have to give you credit for that.
Yeah, it seems like you like to play at a lot of different places. Like, for instance, over on YouTube, you see over at the Whitney House and doing just a lot of different things that you normally don't see rappers doing. You normally see them playing on shows, but you don't see them outside rhyming anymore.
It's when I came up in hip hop, it was about maybe around the golden age, 92, 93, early 80s stuff, and the hip hop I was used to seeing was, guys, doing, freestyle ciphers on the corner, in the lunchroom, on the bus. So to me, that's like the essence when someone just plays a beat and you got a circle of people around and you're just, you're going flow for flow. You're just, grabbing rhymes from here and there and going back and forth. To me, that's how you keep it sharp and keep the essence of the hip hop game as it is.
I've heard some of your music and I really, really love it. I heard it and I just said, "That's it, Ray. Can you play that again?"
Well, thank you. I try to do different stuff. I try to do stuff that beats, for other people. Like I said, when I grew up in hip hop, you had a style of hip hop for almost every genre of listener. You had, your geeky stuff for your geeky fans. You had, your real hardcore stuff, your real lyrical stuff, your, conscious rap, your stuff for the ladies, stuff for the clubs. Everybody had to at least have one joint for every type of listener. And I think that's what hip-hop has gotten a little bit away from, because everybody wants to have that formula. So I try to bring it back to, if you listen to my stuff, even if you don't like one song, there's going to be a song on my project for you somewhere.
Yeah, I listened to like 2 or 3 of your songs, and I really absolutely fell in love with the music. I was like, I like the beat of it. I just like the music. I like it. And I've never been into pop before, or actually rap until, I started to hear this music, and I was like, wow, who's that? And then, Ray explained it to me. I said, wow, that music's fantastic.
Well, thank you. I think there's a compliment. Anytime I can get a fan that doesn't normally listen to hip-hop or rap, and they end up liking it because of something they heard from what I did, that's always like a big plus, because that means I'm doing what I set out to do.
Yep. And I think, too, it's the difference between the underground and the hip-hop and stuff you hear on the radio. I think the underground is just more down to earth. It's more real. It's not out there talking about crazy stuff. You're talking about real life, good, things that just you don't hear on the radio.
Well, the good thing about underground hip-hop is the fact that we're not constricted by, what the label thinks is going to make the numbers. See, a lot of artists don't realize is that when you see these rappers out, they may seem different from when you first heard them on the mixtape circuit or when you see them at the live show. It's because labels, they have a formula. If it's, let's just say, trap music. For a while, trap music was the big thing. So every artist that came out, whether he was from the down south trap area or not, did trap music because that was what was popping. That was what got you the airplay. But with underground hip hop, our fans are so very critical, and they're very smart. So they know if you're not from the area, or if you're not doing this, or if you're doing that. So they keep you very honest in the game, which is why I love the underground, because it keeps every artist who comes out the underground very, very, very honest with themselves and their image.
Right. I mean, because back when I was young, a lot of it was, well, not young, but yeah, I was young, and they started with the beatbox, and that's with the rap, and then they get into rapping from there, but they'd always start with the beatbox, and I remember this from when, I was young. I was in, junior high school, and I'd be like, wow, I was like, wow, okay. I didn't know what it was, I'm like, what's that,
Well, there's a lot of stuff from back then. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't get the forefront like it used to. Like you, when I was younger, it was, you had your beatboxers, you had your breakdancers, you had your DJs, you had your rappers. And as a rapper, you had to know at least 1 or 2 skills. You couldn't just rap. You had to know something. You know, I grew up when, you know, Heavy D was a rapper, but he knew how to dance. Big Daddy Kane was a rapper, but he knew how to dance. P. Rock and CL Smooth rapped and DJ'd and produced. And, you know, like I said, I like stuff like that because it's more authentic. You know, if you know how to do more than one thing and you're keeping it true to the craft, you know, you're going to be successful and you're going to get fans.
Yeah, exactly. Mandy, you have other things to ask him?
I do, actually. One of my questions for you is that you actually have, on your Facebook page, you have 3 different names listed for yourself. So you have Jack Nicklez, and then you have 40 bands, is it? Or am I...
40 bars.
Yeah, I'm totally I'm a blonde, so everything I say just comes out totally wrong. The other day we were talking to somebody about Fred the Godson, and I called him Fred the Godfather, so just ignore me. But and then you also have your business, it seemed like a business name that was your contact information or your manager name, which seemed like your government name, as they would say.
Yeah.
Where did all these names come from?
40 bars. As every other rapper would tell you, as we come up in the rap game, we have gone through transformations, which include the changing of the name. I've gone through maybe 6 or 7 names with 40 bars, and Jack Nicklez being the last 2 of the names that I've actually come up with. I was 40 bars when I was with my crew, which was known as Nuff Set Entertainment, the IGs, and I was 40 bars, and then when I kind of struck out on my own and started doing my own thing, I became Jack Nicklez. The reason why I became Jack Nicklez is because Jack Nicholson is one of my favorite actors. So as a homage to him, I call myself Jack Nicklez.
That's really cool. Have you ever thought about, writing a tribute song in honor of all of Jack Nicholson's amazing work and then somehow trying to get it to him or get him to listen to it? Because I'm sure that he would be more than honored.
I actually, one of my songs called Mind's Eye, which was about a guy that just snapped and went crazy, I actually used movie samples from The Shining. All work and, play make Jack a dull boy and here comes Johnny, and stuff like that. And I actually used the image of him chopping through the door during the bathroom scene as the cover for the single. I've never thought of giving it to him or trying to get it to him, but that's a good idea. I should. But, it's, the reason why I chose the name, one, because he's my favorite actor and because he does a wide variety of stuff. I'm a big movie buff. So, I've seen Jack Nicholson in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, The Shining, Witches of Eastwick, Wolfman. I've seen him in a lot of different movies, and I feel like he's one of the great character actors. And to be in this business, you have to be able to be a bunch of characters for people. So I try to, emulate that in everything that I do. One day, if you need me, I could do, real horrorcore, monster-style stuff, or in the next, I could do something very deep and heartfelt, or I could do something that's just pure comedy.
And you could also play
cool.
upside down.
Yes. I've actually tried it, and it kind of went well until I fell on my head, so, I only do that for special occasions.
Well, at least we're watching, right?
Yes.
What I like about you is you're not only, an MC, but you're also, a producer, and that is amazing. And some of the things that you came up with, like the devilish voice on that one song when you were talking about, mainstream media and how a lot of it's garbage. And, like when you were doing the beat, I believe, for the Royal Rumble, is that correct?
Yes. Royal Rumble, it's off a mixtape I did with a friend of mine by the name of Rock Coleon and a good friend of ours, Nick Vicious. And we're all kids. We're big kids inside, so we were big wrestling fans, just big. I used to go to the shows, watch the TV. I had the figures. And one day we were just sitting around. We were like, we should do just a track, just naming out all our favorite wrestlers and things of that nature. So Royal Rumble came up, and I know when we heard the beat, doom 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 doom, and I just started writing, and then I had to change some of the stuff I wrote because my friend Rocco Leon wrote almost the same type of thing that I was doing. So I had to go back and I had to rewrite mine. And then Nick Vicious did his sound like I had to go back and rewrite mine again. It's a fun track because it's one of those tracks where, you know, it's just, you know, reliving your childhood. It's like, you know, going to the toy store and seeing like a Connect 4 and remembering all the times you used to play Connect 4 with your friends and all the fights you got into because some person cheated or some person didn't cheat.
That's awesome. That's absolutely just to hear the background, you know, between your movie, you know, influences and your wrestling influences and everything. It just shows that you're underneath. You're just a real, you know, person, and you're not just one of these hyped up stars, you know.
Not only that, you're not. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm a fan. I've always tell people I'm a fan first. Like, a lot of people will see me, okay, you got a lot of hip-hop producers as your influence. I have a lot of hip-hop producers as my influence, but I'm also a classic rock guy. So when I'm at home and I'm looking for inspiration, I'm listening to the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Thin Lizzy, you know, listening to a little bit of Robert Plant, Jimmy Page, you know, I'm listening to The Who. I just listen to music back when it was real authentic and you had to know how to play, and, you know, it wasn't just, okay, this sounds good here, this sounds good here. You had to weave everything together to make a complete track. You know,
exactly.
That helped me. Yeah, I love it. Like right now, if you go through my MP3 player, you'll see, you know, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band album. You'll see some Metallica. You know, you'll see, I got some Jack Johnson. I have the weirdest musical taste ever. And people always go, you really listen to this stuff and you do hip-hop? Like, yeah, I listen to my son, who, you know, thankfully for Father's Day, my gift was him graduating from the 8th to the 9th grade is into music. So now me and him are listening to dubstep, and I'm trying to, you know, broaden his horizon musically, and it's kind of cool trying to give him the same lessons that I kind of like learned along the way, and see him rediscover all of my favorite bands and artists, and him kind of figuring out his way through his musical experience.
All right, I got one more for you.
Sure.
As far as, you know, songs that I've heard and things that I've listened to, one of my favorite lines is when you go, well, why aren't you signed yet? And then you go, you know, my album came out, why didn't you buy it? So where could people pick up your album?
Thankfully, I have a decent online presence. You can go to jacknicklez.bandcamp.com. I have, you know, abundance of my projects up there. You can also look for me on iTunes, Google Play. You know, I'm trying to get a hold of the whole, you know, online store presence. So if you're looking, like I said, jacknicklez.bandcamp.com, or you can look for me on iTunes, Google Play, Amazon MP3. I'm pretty much all over the place.
And
I have to say one thing is that this is the one thing that's like the only thing that I have to say. I think after this, everybody else can just like take it away. But the one thing that I have to say and I have to interject is that as you talk about your musical taste on your MP3 player, all I keep thinking about is the picture of you that I put on the article today. And I want everybody who's listening to know right now that he looks like Kenan Thompson. So he doesn't, like, you don't look anything like somebody who would, like, I don't look like I would be a Korn fan, but I am. And you really, like,
I love Korn.
See, it's like, to see somebody like you, it's almost like what I like about you is that you're not just a surface person. There's so much more to you. And as I learn more and more about you just by listening to you talk, it's so incredible because I think people would look at you and be like, oh, of course you like Jay-Z, of course you like Method Man. They would never put Robert Plant and Led Zeppelin and the Beatles and Korn into the same genre of music that you would like. So I think that that's kind of, for me at least, as a writer, that's actually really, really cool to know that you are so eclectic on the inside.
Well, it helps. I also write. I'm getting into the whole blogging thing. I write for guysnation.com and cthiphop.com. And one of the things I like doing, I like going to different places and trying different things. I'll go with a good friend of mine has a band called the Rotary Band, and they were a Beatles cover band. They do their own stuff now. And it's so funny when I go and see one of their shows, I'm like one of the only few black people there. And like everybody's just looking at me like, okay, what is he doing here? Or if I'm driving with my friend and we're listening to Freak on a Leash or, Worlds Collide, and they're looking in the car and I'm just jamming away, and they're like, maybe he's crazy. Maybe something's going on. To me,
they look at us funny. They look at us funny if we don't like. I think the three of us, including you, so the four of us, I think we all look like I think people look at you and they say, okay, this is the kind of music this person is gonna like. Obviously, clearly, they're gonna look at you and they're gonna say, oh, he totally likes Jay-Z. He is Jay-Z. And then the next thing you know, you're listening to Linkin Park in the car, and they're just bowled over by the fact that you actually have depth to you, and that's what a well-rounded musician is supposed to have.
Exactly. When music is made for everybody, it's like going to a culinary school. You're not just going to learn how to cook hamburgers and hot dogs and French fries. You're going to learn how to do the fondues and the souffles, and you got to take a little bit. And that's most of the good artists, most of the very good artists that have lasted the test of time, that have been inducted in the Hall of Fame, that have made classics. When you ask them what they like, their tastes are so varied. Jay-Z, listens to Coldplay and, Kanye, Daft Punk. You got to understand in order to make your music better, you got to be able to take a little bit from here and there and broaden your horizons. If not, you're going to be stuck in a box. You're only going to be good for 1 or 2 summers, and then they're going to put you on a shelf because you don't know how to adapt or you don't know how to take from here and make your sound better.
Of all the music you listen to, since you are a very well-rounded person, I agree with that. But who would you say is your biggest influence?
I got to go Beatles. Huge Beatles fan. I even have the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band album with the lyrics on it. I know all the words to all the songs. When I go to work, I'm listening to them, everything from my guitar weeps. I like the Beatles because it was very experimental. They had your normal rock and roll tracks, like I Want to Hold Your Hand, or they had stuff that were more experimental, like Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. They always tried to think out the box and do different things, and they're like my biggest influence because I want to get to that point where I can say, okay, you know what, I want to go and I want to grab the guys from System of a Down, and I just want to work on like maybe 2 or 3 songs, or I want to go and I want to grab the guys from 07 and do a few songs, or grab the guys from Oasis and redo Wonderwall. I want to get to that point, and the Beatles were at that point where they could do stuff like that. So that's why they're one of my biggest influences.
That's true. I mean, I love the Beatles. I grew up with the Beatles. I grew up in the 70s, So, I mean, that's definitely a good band to have, as a big influence.
So could we say that on your days off, when you ain't got nothing to do, that you're chilling playing Rock Band?
Pretty much. Rock Band, Beatles. I mean, me and my friends will hang out, and, we'll just go through. And, everything from James Brown to maybe Tom Petty to, of course, Nirvana. Actually, one of my favorite songs nowadays that I've listened to that really just I like playing because the song is just so powerful is the Foo Fighters' The Pretender. So, I'm always sitting there trying to play the, in Rock Band you can play the songs out. So I'm always sitting there trying to play the song out. I can never get it. I can get the vocals good, so I'm kind of happy about that. But yeah, rock band, Guitar Hero. I even play a little DJ Hero.
Yeah, we used to play rock band, and I got good to where I was good at the drums. That was my thing. Try sticking me on the guitar, no, I couldn't do it.
The guitar I'm pretty good at, but for someone who makes beats, my coordination on the drum set for rock band and Guitar Hero are awful. It's god awful. My friends always just move the set away from me when I sit down to get ready to play. I'm banned from the drums because you have to save me too many times. It's just horrible.
Well, see, I have a cousin who played the drums. So when I was young growing up, he started teaching me at a young age kind of how to play the drums. I'm not that good, but he at least started to teach me. And then when I got a little older, one of my mother's friends' boyfriends and one of her sons started teaching me a little bit about the drums. So maybe that's why I can kind of do it a little,
That reminds me. If I can, allow me to turn the table on you and ask you guys and girls, why do you love what you do on Blog Talk Radio?
I enjoy
getting that you guys.
all different kinds of people. And, it's nice to meet new people and find out different kinds of music and, learn new things about new people.
That's a very good answer. Okay.
All right.
Anybody else?
And you, Mandy?
I'm a writer first and foremost, but what I love about being on the radio and about Blog Talk Radio is the fact that I had always wanted to be an actress, but I have horrid stage fright. So this allows me to feel like I am bringing a smile to people's faces and entertaining them in a world that's so ridiculous at times, and they don't have to see my face. Like, I could be literally just sitting here with a face mask on and polishing my feet, and they don't even know that. They just know that they know the voice, and they know that the person behind it is a genuine person who just wants to make them happy.
Nice. And last but not least.
All right. The reason that I'm on here is because I actually wanted to give people an outlet when this whole thought was given. It was about, giving people an outlet to reach out beyond what normal media would allow.
Yeah.
Beyond, the whole, downgrading people. When you do an interview, I don't believe you should downgrade them and look at, the negatives. I just don't. Also, I like the fact of being able to help people, being able to learn about people and just, I feel like this is like my calling, period. Just like music, your calling.
Yep.
Even though I have another job, and I'm a computer graduate, believe it or not, this is what I love to do. This is how I love to, entertain, for one, and two, to create an outlet for other people to enjoy and to branch out and be like, okay, well, this is the radio show / radio station that actually made it without the help of this big known person or that big known person.
Exactly. Not only that, our dream is to someday have our own station and be able to help other artists that are up and coming to make it without having to go through having a label. They can go through us and come on our station and they can rap or whatever kind of thing they do. They can do it on our radio, and not be judged.
Yeah, and it's a way for them to branch out and reach more people because we're across all the Android apps, the iTunes, the video players. I mean, everywhere you can think of, we're on. So.
Well, it's as an artist, and producer, and a fan. I'll be really honest with you. When I first got the email, the reason why it took me so long to get back, when I first got the email, I'm like, okay, this is one of these, spam junk emails that someone always says, but yeah, we'll put you on the radio. Now it's going to cost you this much money so you can get out there. And I'm like, okay, I'll just put that away and I'll come back and check it later. And then I went back and I was like, you know what? Let me see. And I like the fact that you guys are doing this because as an independent artist, and I hope all the independent artists who are listening to the show will listen and understand. for us, this is like gold, because mainstream media, mainstream radio stations, even some of the indie college stations, you know, they kill us for what we have to do in order to get some broadcast time. There's too many hoops we got to go through. You know, payola is one of the things that a lot of MCs are going through, or, you know, I got to know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, and then when I get on, I only get like 2 minutes, and I'm in and out. You know, I love shows like this that give you a chance to, you know, actually, you know, get close with your listeners. And I like the fact that you guys did your homework. The write-up, you know, you used stuff that I forgot I had written down on my bio. I was reading, I'm like, wow, okay, I sound actually interested. This is really cool. So I appreciate you, and I applaud you for the work and the research you did. Because a lot of radio stations don't go that far. It's okay, we're going to have him on because he has a lot of views, so let's just bring him on, and they don't do any of the research. So for the fact that you guys did the research, and even, you know, did me the honor of picking me, because I know there's a lot of guys that you could have picked that probably are better than me or probably more established than me. So for the fact that you chose me, I'm very honored, and I thank you guys, and whatever I can do to support you guys, just let me know.
Thank you. That means that for me as the writer of the article, that really means a lot, because it shows that I have successfully done what I was supposed to do, and that's really all that you can do in this world is do your job and do it well.
True.
And Mandy, yes, you do deserve all the credit for that write-up. You did a fantastic job.
I agree. A phenomenal job.
Thank you. I actually have one more question for you. I have my bachelor's in politics, which is something that I say every single night because I try to make myself feel better about life. But my question is, a lot of artists, mainly musicians, they get involved in the political arena. And one thing about, I used to love Kid Rock, but then Kid Rock got involved too heavily in the political arena, and it kind of turned me off a little bit. How do you feel about these popular artists coming out and supporting a certain political party in a way to almost sway their fans to not think for themselves but think as the artists do? Or do you think that should just be a personal, like a private thing? Like for you, you say, okay, well, this is who I like and this is who I'm going to like, and I'm just going to stay neutral when it comes to my entertainment.
Well, when it comes to music and politics, I tell people if you know the roots of any music, whether it's folk music, even rock and roll, heavy metal, reggae, hip-hop, the basis of it was wrapped in politics. We needed a voice, and we couldn't get on a news channel or we couldn't get on the podium and get that voice time, so we used music to get the message out and maybe convey it in a way that, because some of us are not the best public speakers. Now, I've watched a lot of interviews with a lot of artists, and sometimes I'm just like, will you please just shut up? You're horrible. You're hurting yourself even more than you supporting the people you're supporting are. So I feel you have a right to say it. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. Lupe Fiasco, who is an intelligent artist, insanely talented. His viewpoints sometimes get twisted with the way he presents them. If you listen to his music and then you hear him speak, they sound like two different people. I feel you have a right to express your political opinion. I would never take that away from anybody. That is the right that you were given. My problem is sometimes you make that the core focus. I've been to shows where artists have stopped performing just to do a political rant. And the problem with that is people do not come. These fans don't come to hear these guys talk about, you know, Bush don't like black people. Obama's doing a horrible job. I wish I could get rid of Joe Biden. They're not here to listen to you do your political soapbox. They want to hear you perform. And, you know, people feel like it's a responsibility because we're in the limelight and, you know, we have people's ears that we have to do this and we have to do that. We have to make a statement. We have to have a cause. And that you don't have to. You're an artist. You're here, honestly, to make people forget that they're going through the problems that you're going through. You know, you're here to help soothe people's minds. I have a good friend who I know by the name of Jimmy Green. His daughter was a part of the Sandy Hooks incident, and he did music to help soothe that tragedy. He didn't use it as a chance to talk about his views on gun violence, or security in the schools. He just made music so people can understand, I feel your pain. I know what you're going through. Let me help ease you. And I think artists have gotten away from it because they feel like we now have to make a statement. We have to have a stand. And that's not the case. You want to say you're a Republican? Fine. You want to say a Democrat? Fine. But when you take a venue which people paid their hard-earned money to be entertained and you turn that into a political rally or a place for you to do your rant and take away from satisfying the fans, that's when I have an issue.
I think
all right. Well, with that being said, I'm gonna put you on a spot. I do this. People hate it, but I do this. Are you a fan of KRS-One?
Oh, big fan of Chris, the teacher. Chris is a very influential person to anybody in hip hop. But just like I said with Lupe, sometimes he's made the mistakes of turning shows into political rants, and sometimes his political message doesn't come across as good as his lyrical message.
Okay, that's an honest answer.
Yeah, I think that, like I said, the only thing the reason I never liked rap growing up and stuff was because I always never liked the fact that they're always talking about, oh, I'm going over here to shoot this person, or my baby mama messing with this guy or that guy, or some crazy stuff, and you're real down to earth, real, and you're not talking about all that garbage. You're talking about real stuff.
I tell people that's out there. If I go and I talk about how someone got shot or the issues I have with my baby mother, it's out there. But I tell people there's a line between getting the news and then trying to create the news. I think people blur that line. You have someone like a Talib Kweli or a Mos Def who kind of give you that report without crossing that line too much. But then you have a lot of guys who just glorify. They cross the line to the point where it's now I'm glorifying the lifestyle. And I'm never going to be scared about saying names. I know a lot of people are, but you have artists like Chief Keef and guys who kind of glorify that violent life and that drug life, and it's like, I understand that's where you're from. That's what you see. That's what you know. I understand that, and I always say be real to who you are. But you have to have some type of counterbalance to the message. Like Jay-Z, he's done songs where he talked about the drug life, but he's also talked about the repercussions. If people's favorite song from Jay-Z is called The Evils, where he talks about his drug life, but then what the drug life has taken from him, like his best friend and his family. Now he's paranoid. He has to watch everything. He can't do normal things because he feels like he's being watched because of what he's done. I think people nowadays, they forget that counterbalance. I'm going out.
That's different.
Yeah, and that's what I try to do. If I talk about drugs or I talk about running the streets or I talk about my baby mother, I counterbalance. I have a song that I released for, Father's Day, where I talk about I wasn't the best father. And I'm very honest about that. My son's first few years, I wasn't the best, but I've learned and I have improved and I've gotten better, and me and my son have a great relationship. But I'm not just going, I had a worse time, my baby mother was just, and I ain't really well deal with my son. I kind of bad stuff, I had a bad time, but I learned how to become a father, so I wouldn't be like my father. You got to have a counter message to balance everything off. If not, you're just going to sound like someone who's just running around shooting everybody. And to me, if you're doing all this shooting, if you're selling all these drugs, I'm still trying to figure out why you're not in jail, because what you're doing is snitching on yourself, and you should have been arrested by now.
Exactly.
Me coming, even though I'm a white guy, I grew up in the projects. And the thing I never understood was where people are, always repping the projects and like, this is good and that's good. And I'm thinking to myself, everyone that I've known from the projects don't want to be here. They want to get the fuck out. Excuse my language.
Yeah. I tell people, and I've known a lot of people from the projects. I have family in the projects. I've been there. And I tell people, there's two things I've learned. if you go to the projects and you give someone $1 million, they're not staying in the project. They are moving. They're moving as soon as you put the money in their hand. They've already had the trucks waiting for you, and they're gone. Okay, so they say, yeah, I'm repping this project. No one really wants to rep the projects. Yes, you're repping where you live, but if you have a chance, you're gone. And two, and I learned this from Scarface and all the other Italian gangster movies, gangsters never talk about what they do. That is like the golden rule. Yes, you don't talk about Fight Club. You know, it's like if Al Pacino, when Al Pacino was playing Scarface, he didn't jump up on the stage.
Say hello to my little friend.
Yeah, you know, he wasn't out with a megaphone in front of the White House talking about, yeah, I'm moving away, and I got a bunch of whores in my house, and in the back of my car, I got a few kilos of cocaine. No, he quiet, and then he moved on.
Yep, exactly. I think there's no reason to rap about that garbage. If you're rapping about real life and like you said, you've got something to balance it off, it's different. That's why I liked the beat of your music. I liked what you sang about. It made sense.
Yeah, exactly. It makes sense, and it's real. I mean, there's so much garbage out there nowadays, it seems like, okay, you have a pretty face and we'll put you on. You can't rhyme worth a damn, and you can't, you know, you have no story to tell, but we'll put you on. But the people that are actually working their ass off, like you are, and there's many other artists out there that are working their tail off, and they're better, don't get the shot because, you know, they're not playing the game, so to speak.
Well, what happens is, and I did a post on this on my page, and I said, what the fans have forgotten is you have the buying power, which means you pretty much rule what's on the airwaves. It's the same thing with retail. You rule what becomes popular and what's out there. The problem is they've allowed themselves to be tricked by the flashiness of what the industry brings. If the fans would stop and go, you know what, I am tired of listening to all this negative stuff and we're not buying it, the industry would stop pushing that on the airwaves and bring something else out. A lot of good artists don't get to shine because the fans have, like, I grew up listening to, like, Common Sense, who's a great MC, but will never get the props that he deserves because he doesn't talk about, you know, the extravagant gangster lifestyle. And that doesn't mean he's not as good as any of the other MCs out. It's just that he doesn't do that because he's staying true to himself. If the fans decided that that's the way they wanted to go, a lot of these MCs that you see out now wouldn't have a job. They'd be out of work.
Exactly. Hey, Mandy, over there, you got something else to ask? Anything to add?
Give me a minute to collect my thoughts. So many things are going on right now because now I'm reflecting on the music that I was, like, the rap that I was brought up on and how creatively different it really was. I mean, I got into rap really with, I grew up in a time where pop was rap. Like, you had Limp Bizkit. Like, Limp Bizkit, it really was just generic pop with somebody who could rap. Like, that's what it was. So, when I think about something...
Let me blow your mind a little bit. I'm going to put an idea, I'm going to put an image out there, and I want you to think about it. Nowadays, it's hard for someone to poke fun at themselves and to be comedic or to be happy and want to do a lot of dancing. You know, because everybody wants to be hard and be a thug. Now, if you go back to the roots of hip-hop was predominantly a party style of music. It wasn't about, you know, the drug dealers and things like that. It was about MCs going there and trying to rock a party. I tell people one of the most, to me, successful, influential MCs is Will Smith because he was able to maintain his image all throughout the years. And he's a great lyrical MC, and he stuck to what got him to the game. He was silly. He was comedic. He made dance music. That's what hip-hop was. Now, a lot of people go, well, you know, Will Smith, he's too poppy and stuff. There's no such thing as pop. People are confused. pop and music culture is popular music. It's just music you like. There's no pop. It's just a label they put on so they can market it to you. You know, the Beatles, which were a rock band at one time, were considered pop, but they were rock. It's just a label. You know, Vanilla Ice, MC Hammer, people always down their contribution to hip hop, but they were doing what our forefathers were doing. They were dancing. They were having fun. They were talking about parties and light stuff and cruising, chilling with your girl, chilling with your boys, hitting the club. You know, it's funny how hip-hop twists things, like the whole 50 Cent Ja Rule thing. 50 Cent got on Ja Rule because Ja Rule was singing in his songs. And he was doing a lot of lovey-dove stuff. And you turn around, 50 singing on his songs and doing a lot of lovey-dove stuff. It's how the culture twists itself because of a so-called image people are supposed to be promoting, but not knowing the background of everything.
It's just funny because I feel like if somebody, like if I were to put in my like Limp Bizkit $3 Bill Y'all CD into my car right now and go driving around town with it on full blast, people would look at me like I had 5 heads. But then if I were to put in, 99 Problems, they'd be like, yeah, that chick's badass. So it's like everybody's perception is so off.
It is. I mean, look, Limp Bizkit is not doing anything that Run DMC and Aerosmith didn't do, or anything that Biohazard and Onyx didn't do, or anything that Public Enemy and I forgot the group that they did the song with when they did Bring the Noise. They're not doing anything different than what those artists were doing back then. It's not. And I tell people that all the time. You don't know your history, so you don't really know what you're saying when they say, Limp Bizkit, that's whack. No, it's not. Run DMC was doing it when they did Walk This Way. And I know if I put Walk This Way on, people go crazy. People know it word for word. They know the song. They know the little dance step. They remember the video. It's the same thing that Limp Bizkit was doing when you have Fred Durst rapping. There's no big difference.
Yeah, exactly. Another one you can say is Rage Against the Machine. They were, a mix as well.
Of course. That genre of hip-hop rock, that's based from what Run DMC, Biohazard, Onyx did when they first came out. And I always tell people, I don't know why you don't like it, Korn. They have that hip-hop rock feel, Limp Bizkit, Epic. There's a lot of artists that came out in that time frame that had that feel, POD, where it was rock, but it had a very strong hip-hop influence. And I tell people, I don't know why you're mad, because that's what hip-hop is about. Hip-hop is about reaching out to different forms, different cultures, and showing that, we can do this too, and you can do it and not feel bad about it. It's like we've lost that message in music.
There's not a definition, though. That's the problem, is that there's nobody there to educate you about what the music is supposed to be about in the history of where everything came from. I took the history of rock and roll in college, and it all started with, Elvis and Chubby Checker and people that you wouldn't even think about, and that's where Aerosmith got their influences from. So it's amazing how music does transcend, and I think they do need to have, instead of history of jazz, history of rock and roll, they need to have a history of hip-hop and rap, because I think you can trace your roots back to a lot more than just what is the mainstream. And even if you listen to the backstories, from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm probably wrong, but I know that 99 Problems by Jay-Z is really not a disrespect to women. It actually has a totally different meaning, and people were saying, oh, it's so disrespectful to women to say bitch and stuff, but it really wasn't even regarding a bitchy woman.
You have a lot of people who will see songs on the surface and not really delve into the meanings of the songs. If you listen to 99 Problems, you can't hear where he talks about, calling a woman a bitch. It's just the chorus. He talks about police doing illegal searches. No one talks about that. That's part of the song. You know, there's nothing about that screams, oh my God, he's disrespecting women. I tell people, when I can go and I can play Travis Porter's Make It Rain, and you have a crowd of women that will sing the song, and then you want to tell me that the lyrics are disrespectful just because you don't understand the culture or you don't listen to the music. A perfect example of that is there was when Michelle Obama had a poetry night, and she invited Common Sense to speak at the poetry night. Now, Common has done some very strong stuff, and Bill O'Reilly, who I just love for his idiocy, picked out a poem that Common Sense did where he talked about shooting down police. Now, mind you, he took a few key lines from the poem. He didn't talk about how the poem was about someone who was abused by police and was getting his revenge because of the abuse and how wrong it could have been. They just pointed out this little simple thing because they want to make an uproar. It's sensationalization. That's what people do. They get these songs and they go, okay, we're not really going to listen to it. We see the word bitch. We see the word baby mama. Okay, he's calling baby mamas bitches, and that's why the song is horrible. But yet still, when we go through rock, there's a bunch of songs where they talk about drug dealing and shooting and being disrespectful to women and things of that nature. But we don't talk about that because right now hip-hop is the hot form of music right now.
Yeah, exactly. The thing I don't get is, Tupac, God rest his soul, whether he's alive, dead, whatever, doesn't matter.
He's on an island.
Well, regardless, the thing I don't get is everybody plays all his, bad, killing songs. But I don't hardly ever hear anybody play Unconditional Love, and I think that was one of the best songs he's made, ever.
Well, with Tupac, he has Unconditional Love, Dear Mama, Keep Your Head Up.
Dear Mama.
That has the baby. He has a lot of people don't realize Tupac wrote poetry. He has the Rose of the Concrete poetry book. That is a great book, which is another thing that people don't realize is poetry is a form of hip-hop. Hip-hop is derivative from poetry. Back in the medieval days when you had poets that used to say their poetry while someone would be playing a harp in the background, that's hip-hop. But a lot of people don't make the connection because they want to see the bad stuff. I tell people, if you look hard enough, you can find the bad in anything. It doesn't matter who the person is. Mandy, to my knowledge, is a great person who does a great job writing. But if I wanted to say, oh, see, she doesn't even talk about, this and that about me. She just sensationalized the fact that I think I'm a little bit crazy. She doesn't talk about that I work with this person and that person. If I want to find that bad, I could do that because that would be my aim. And that's what they do when they have these certain artists in their cross lines. They just focus on the bad and they look and look and look until they find that one bad thing, no matter how little or unimportant it is, and they blow it up.
That's true. Growing up, my other favorite thing, like when I got to be more in my 20s, was Big Papa. That was my favorite song. I loved that song. I just played that song. I rollerbladed to it and everything.
Oh, that's a classic song. It was a classic chill song that stands the test of time because it had a message that everybody could relate to. Everybody just wanted to have fun. Remember when that was cool? When having fun was cool, where you could sit at a club with a bunch of friends, and it wasn't about how much money you were spending or what you were drinking. It was just the fact that I'm chilling with these group of friends. We met this group of friends, and now we're all chilling and we're all having fun.
Exactly. We're just curious. We understand that it's late and all, but is there any way you can spit a little or, play a beat or anything, or no, because it's so late?
Oh, no. Listen, I'm up all night. I'm a night owl, so let me see. Let's see. Nowadays, I find it hard when niggas spitting because these bastards getting signed off for trash written While real niggas struggle hard to get a single deal, these rap niggas making ringtones and making meals. I'm making music to feed my people and change the state. Not really concerned if you call me one of the greats. Just as long as your head's moving, I've done my job. And that's the same type of shit that I tell my squad. Dedication is so hard without a doubters. You know, these haters want to see you lose power. And friends come and go. Some turn to foes. I guess the game changes mind states. I don't know. I'm trying to make music to feed my people and change the states. Ugh.
That's what I do.
Hey, I look at it like this, man. We all make mistakes and everything. It's no big deal.
We thought it was so good.
Thank you.
I would have gotten one word out. I would have been like, so yo, and then it would have ended, and it would have just been bad.
Mine would have been, well, I'm doing, and I was like, oops, wait a minute, now what do I say now? That's how far I would have gotten if I tried doing it.
I
used to flow a little bit. I can't no more. I remember.
Oh, come on. There's no such thing as can't. There's no such thing as can't. Let's hear something.
One of my favorite things was when I went, my mind's a Rubik's Cube with no link to be the weakest. Your mind jigsaws together, leaving you puzzled with bits and pieces. That's just a little thing.
Well, that's not bad right there. You know, put a beat behind that. You know, I'll put you on the album. We can do a little EP. It could work.
I want to do some Gangsta's Paradise, but I want to be the big guy who sweats a lot.
You know, I always said when you ever watch the cartoons and they have like the image of the wind and he has the big cheeks and he's just blowing wind all over the place, that's what I see when I see the guy from Gangsta's Paradise.
Yeah, that song is it's like every time I hear that song, even now, I'm like, now that I kind of know the words and stuff, because I'm not a kid, and I understand what Coolio is saying, I'm like, oh, wow, this is the best song ever, and all you want to do is just, like, scream the song, but then you stop, and automatically you think of the big guy sweating, and you're like, oh, crap, that just killed the song for me.
Well, a lot of people don't realize how good that song was, because it's not as hardcore as other stuff that came out at the time. But that song was it had a message, had a good melody, a good beat, and the guy who was singing on it, he did a great job singing on it. That was a good song. It's probably one of my favorite hip-hop songs.
It was a heartfelt song, and it worked for a movie that had a very important message. And, you know, a lot of people think that they live, no matter if you live in the suburbs or you live in the projects, sometimes people's mental state is a Gangsta's Paradise. So I think that he appealed to everybody, and that's just I think one of the most amazing songs that has ever come out, and I think it doesn't get enough respect now. I think it got more respect 20 years ago, but I think it should get more respect now. And I think that you should do like a remix of it.
Well, if you look at the current state of the world as it is, with all the shootings going on, not just in the urban areas, but in a lot of the suburban areas now, you know, I tell people, it's not just, okay, all this stuff is happening in the hood. You know, I live in Hartford. You know, Sandy Hook is in a good area. Okay, it's in a good area, or what people would consider a good area. And the same thing that happens in my city happened in their city. There's no differential now when it comes to class and location, because, you know, fucked up shit happens everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. I love the song. Like, when I listen to the song Gangsta's Paradise, it makes me think of when we were young. And I was in my early 20s, and me and all my friends would get together, go to my one friend's house, and we'd all be sitting around drinking beer, and we would listen to that song. And it was all different people, all different colors, all different shapes, sizes, you know. It was just a bunch of people just hanging out, having a good time.
Yeah,
that's how you know. Exactly. That's how you know when you have good music, when you don't have to be a certain color or from a certain, you know, location or a certain race or a certain, you know, financial class in order to enjoy the song. Like, I sit around and I have, you know, friends of all Asians, Hispanics, white, black, and we'll just sit there and we'll listen to like a bunch of music that we like. And you know, I don't go, okay, you can't listen to this because this is strictly black music. Okay, you're not quote unquote nigger enough to listen to this NWA song. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to step out the room. And I'm not honky enough to listen to some Bob Dylan, so I'm gonna leave right now. It's not like that. I go, okay, put on some Tom Petty because I feel like listening to Mary Jane or Free Fallin'. You know,
Oh,
I
Free
got a
Fallin'
friend
is
of
one of
mine.
my favorites. I love Free Fallin'.
I'm trying to tell you, you know, I won't back down. You know, I can listen to a bunch of stuff with my friends. Most of my friends have a very eclectic taste. Like a good friend of mine by the name of Alex Greeno, you know, he geeks out whenever he listens to like hip hop. So he'll call me up and be like, "Hey, I was listening to the Fat Boys today," and he'll recite a Fat Boy lyric, and I'll go, "Okay,
wow.
I was listening to Metallica," and I'll quote a Metallica lyric to him, and we just go back and forth. But that's what good music does. You know, you no matter who you are, you can relate to it. You know, you can sing it and have fun with it, and not feel like you have to have the doors closed to listen to it because it's not your music.
Exactly. Like, I listen to Metallica, and there's one song that I know pretty much almost the whole song. I can sit there and listen to the radio and be singing it. And I'll be listening to, like, Metallica, and somebody will be sitting there in the, like, at a light or something. They'll look at me like, she's listening to Metallica? Or she's listening to rap? But if I have country on, they're like, oh, okay. That's cool. She's listening to country.
Yeah.
I listen to everything. I like everything. I like all different kinds of music.
Yeah, people like the stereotype. I believe people should leave labels to jars. That's just me.
Exactly.
Perfect. That's perfect. That should be on a shirt somewhere. I may have to steal that idea. I like that.
Hey, I thought you liked my Rings of Saturn idea. Don't listen to Ray. Listen to me. I'm the genius. I'm the one who writes the good stuff.
All right, I'll stay with my
Rings of Saturn over here.
I can see it going on. I feel very popular now. I feel pop. So you guys are fighting over which idea I should use. But you're right.
Yeah, I should win, and I would petition myself too to win. So don't think that I won't. I could be very lyrical as a miracle too. Okay.
Lyrical as a miracle. How long did it take you to think of that?
It took me like 1 second.
I have to ask you, it sounded like she was waiting for the right moment to say that part. And she's like, okay, you know what, I'm going to say lyrical miracle, and I'm going to show that I can be lyrical too. That's what she did.
I did not.
It's all good.
It was an impromptu rap attempt that failed epically. So now I'm going to go hide my head under my blankets and pretend that I never said any of that.
Now, I will let you know, if I upload a song called Lyrical Miracle, I will send it to you and let you know that it was not a fail, but it was an epic win.
There you go.
I would be so honored if you did that and mixed it with a little bit of Korn's Politics, because then it would make me feel like it was my song.
I can make that work. I can work on that and make that go.
I'm going to hold you to that.
Listen, what people don't understand, I write maybe 3 to 4 songs a day.
Do you know how long it took me to write your article? 10 minutes.
I was doing it very quickly. See, great writers, they just get into a groove and they just go.
We're going to collaborate. It's going to be like Jack Nicklez featuring Lyrical the Miracle Mandy, and it's going to be epic.
Yeah, and her writer's block.
You know, it's funny, I was working on a project with my friend, and it's called Writer's Block. That's how I know I'm on the right path, because I hear examples of the stuff that I'm working on. I've done a lot of stuff. If you go to jacknicklez.bandcamp.com, I have a project called The Garage Band Memoirs. And my whole purpose of that project was to pay homage to my love of rock music. So the songs that I recorded over use nothing but classic or up-to-date rock music samples. And one of the songs I have on there, this lets you know how big of a geek I am. Because I believe to be very popular in hip-hop, you have to be a geek. I was watching Scooby-Doo, and they had this thing where they had these girls singing, and Daphne Blake, the redhead from the Scooby-Doo band, was singing the lead, and I had took the song, and I had took her vocals, and I had mixed it in the song and made this great relationship song. And as I'm ton of people about it. I'm like, oh yeah, I got this great singer. Her name is Daphne Blake. She's beautiful. She does real great on the song. Everybody's like, oh my God, who is this Daphne Blake? Who is this person? And as people are Googling Daphne Blake, I'm getting text messages like, that's the damn cartoon. You are so stupid. It's just a testament to, music and where you can grab music from. I love it.
Exactly. The funny thing is, when people were talking about Gangster Paradise and that song, I kept on thinking of Coolio on a big wheel.
Yes. Listen,
I love me some Coolio. Okay.
When I think of Coolio, I think of the braids. I think of just the braids that went all over the place. And at a time, I was trying to do those braids, and I could never figure out how he got them to stick out.
He looked like he got fucking electrocuted by Pippi Longstocking. It was not even normal.
But it looked so cool. I'm like, how did he get his braids to stick? I can never get mine to do that. It was so frustrating.
Yeah, I hate when I can't get my braids to stand up. It's so depressing.
Well, it's a common thing. You got to have your braids standing up if you're going to do it, or you're not cool, or Coolio.
I mean, you had to know he was a little out there, though, when a grown man was riding a big wheel.
Oh, come on. You're
talking about that Coolio.
Listen.
Hairspray.
You're talking to a guy who grew up on Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah.
Okay.
When he remade Gangster's Paradise to Amish Paradise, that was awesome.
Do you know the story behind that? When he remade,
but you can tell us on Chill Time Radio.
Yes. When he remade that song, Coolio
was he not allowed?
Coolio
said no, right? He said no,
yes.
And that's why he wouldn't let him do it. So he had to change it completely.
He had a problem with it. I can understand, because sometimes when you do a song and you put a lot into it, and it becomes very big, you're very skeptical on letting someone play with it because you don't want to take away from it. But I always thought, listen, if Weird Al is doing your song, that means you have hit that level.
You've arrived.
Yes, because he's only done the most popular songs, like the Michael Jackson Beat It, or when he did Chamillionaires, Riding Dirty to White and Nerdy. He only does the real popular hits that everybody's gonna get. So if that was me, if I was cool, I'd be like, go ahead. If you want, I can make an appearance in the video with you. I can help you do the song. I will do the song with you. I would have had fun with it.
I grew up with Weird Al, and I always thought he was great.
Yeah, he did great songs like the one he did about Nirvana. I thought that was a classic.
Oh, he did another one. Do you remember that song that went?
Oh yes, by that band that nobody really cared about, but they had that.
They were the Crash Test Dummies.
Yes,
there was that girl who, that one. I just totally.
I remember when Weird Al redid that, and to me, I tell people, you want to look at someone who's a great lyricist, who's a great songwriter, to do what Weird Al does, and to go back and not only rewrite song lyrics to make them silly, but to have them make sense. That's hard.
And then videos.
Oh, the videos were great. Like when he did Like a Surgeon instead of Like a Virgin, and I Lost on Jeopardy instead of Our Love's in Jeopardy. Yeah.
Oh, exactly. They're silly. That's what made them fun to watch, and you wanted to watch them because you wanted to see what his next video was going to be.
And I think that's what's missing in music. We don't have anybody that's willing to poke fun at themselves or to have fun anymore. It's that element is missing in music. It's like we got to a certain point where no one wants to have fun. No one wants to make fun of themselves. No one wants to go, okay, maybe I am stereotypical. I can admit that. No one wants to admit that. Everybody wants to say, this is my image and it's sacred and thou shalt not talk bad about it.
Yeah, exactly.
I got to be corporate, so you can't repeat me and you can't copy what I'm doing because I'm corporate.
Yeah, it's come on. You got to have fun. I make fun of myself. I have a song, because I'm a little overweight, so I have a song called Fat Boy, which I actually talk about my weight. It's the most hilarious thing I love listening to it, and I have fun performing it because it, you can't take yourself too seriously, or else you lose the whole reason why you got into music in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. I used to have a song when I used to rhyme. One of the choruses said, "I'm a closet rapper. Where my coat hangers at?" You know.
See, stuff like that. Yes. I remember when I was younger, we used to take songs and try to remix them and be funny with them. No one does that anymore. Like LL Cool J's "I Need Love," we used to do "I Need Rice." And I remember, when I'm alone in my room, sometimes I stare at my wall, and in my back of my mind, I hear my conscience call, telling me I need a food that's as wide as a dove for the first time in my life. I see I need rice. I remember that whole part, and that stuck with me because it was just fun. And whenever I hear LL Cool J's "I Need Love," I think about that song. I just think about those schoolyard lyrics that we did just to get on everybody's nerves.
What about, how did you feel about Sir Mix-a-Lot's I Like Big Butts song? Do you think that that's like one of the most epic songs? Because not only is he making fun of himself, but he's making fun of the fact that, like, these chicks got these donkey booties going on.
I tell people, the song is, to me, it's a great song. It was almost like he was focused on like you said, at the glorifying we do of big booty girls. And the fact that he had the two white girls in the beginning, like, oh my God, Becky, look at her butt.
It's so big. Oh my gosh, looks like one of those rough guys' girlfriends. I mean, who wants to date one of those rough guys? Oh my God, I totally just did that.
And things I'll tell you about it, you can play that song now, people know it word for word, they know the intro, they know the song, they will get up and dance to it, they will have fun to it. It was one of those last songs where a guy just, that's the other thing I like, when you take something that's a topic and you talk about it and you have fun with it, you enjoy it, it becomes funny. I've been to weddings where they play Baby Got Back.
Or Ice Ice Baby, and people always make fun of it. They're like, Ice Ice Baby, Vanilla Ice is so lame. Then how come more than half of the world knows every single lyric when that song comes on?
Listen, I tell people I still know the words to that song. Even though I make fun of him about the interview he did when they were talking about him sampling Queen, and he said, theirs go, do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Do 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 do.
Oh, yeah, behind the music, and he's like, I got a little change there.
It's funny, but I write the song. There's songs that I tell people that no matter what you feel about, if you play it, people will dance. Like Will Smith get jiggy with it, even though jiggy is like the most tiredest word ever, and I just made up tiredest. But if you play it, people will dance. Men in Black, people will dance. Wild Wild West, people will dance. Can't Touch This, people will dance. Ice Baby, people will dance. No matter how much you may quote unquote hate the song, those songs were what the essence of music is, because you can play them for anybody, and anybody will know the lyrics, and anybody will enjoy themselves to that song.
Yeah, exactly. And not only that, but going back to the song I Like Big Butts, I always felt like it was a song like they were making fun of the way these guys all had to glorify these skinny models with these skinny little bodies. And it was kind of like this guy saying, well, I like big butts, and, you know, I don't care what you think, you know?
I tell people, if you think about it, it was almost like the first anthem we had for curvier women. You know,
it was my anthem.
Yes. I'll come to that point. There weren't that many songs for women who were full-figured, who were thicker than most, who had a little bit more meat than most, who weren't your average skinny, throwing up all my food after I eat it, anorexic models. They were actually, you know, real women who maybe had some roles here and there, but they're still beautiful.
Exactly.
Okay, I don't got no roles anywhere. I'm just saying I got an ass and I got hips, and I'm, like, not a Barbie doll. So for him to be, like, you know, 33, 24, 36, only if she's 5'3", well, I'm, like, 5'2", and, like, he totally knew my measurements.
Do you like how the whole image of women has switched, where it used to be you had to be skinny, and now, you know, with, like, World Star and, you know, uncut videos and, you know, a lot of the porn stars and a lot of the dancers now and the Brazilian chicks, that it's now, you know, if you're not curvy, you're not attractive anymore. Even the full-figured women that have, started to dominate modeling, like the Kate Uptons and even the Takaras from America's Next Model. It's like the image just changed, and I always have to say it's because of that song that the images started to change.
I think it's important that even if you were skinny as a rail or if you had the curves, that you just learn to embrace who you were and embrace your body and enjoy the fact that you are made uniquely and you're made for yourself, and that's all that really matters in this world. And I don't think that over plus-size girls sometimes, I think, give the wrong impression because they give the impression that it's okay to be obscenely obese sometimes. And it's the same spectrum with really skinny girls. They give it the impression that it's okay to not eat. So I still think we're trying to find that happy medium, but I think we're getting closer, and I think that just by listening to that song, it gives people the confidence to say, okay, I am who I am, and this is who I'm going to be, and love me or hate me. So that's it.
Well, that's what we need. I mean, I think music needs to go back to where we had anthems that made us more confident and motivated us. Like, I always loved Pat Benatar's Love is a Battlefield. That was like the perfect, you just got dumped and you were just upset and you just played that song. You just sang that song because you remembered the pain you felt. You were just, love is a battlefield. And you started jamming. I miss songs like that because we don't have that many songs like that anymore.
Exactly. It's like people just want to take the fun out of things and just make everything so serious. But the world is so serious. Why is everybody, trying to do that? It doesn't make it doesn't make much sense to me, personally.
It doesn't. I mean, my friend this lady I used to be friends with had a daughter who was extremely obese, and she was going into middle school, and she would get picked on and made fun of, and I would always tell her, love yourself for who you are, embrace who you are, don't be afraid of it, don't get upset because somebody makes fun of you. They're insecure about their looks or about their life. Don't let it influence you and who you become.
See, that's the message. We're missing messages like that. Back in the days, there were a lot of messages like that where, you had, I mean, even up to like as recent as Christina Aguilera's Fighter, you got to have messages. You got to have motivation. You just can't put these images out there. I always find it funny. I read a quote from Nicki Minaj, and she talked about how she feels like we need to ease up on the overly sexual overtones in music. And I always laugh at that because I look at her image and I'm like...
People want to talk about anything.
Yeah, like, how are you helping out with this message? I see people talking to when they're in interviews, they go, "Oh yeah, I feel that we shouldn't glorify the crime in the urban community or the drugging of women." Like the whole Rick Ross thing. It's like, come on, let's. You're talking about slipping mollies in someone's drink so they don't know that they're having sex with you. Last time I checked, that's akin to rape. And, there's nothing cool or trendy or swaggish about that. It's not. What would happen to, the stuff we were talking about, I'll give you a classic example. Ed O.G. and the Bulldogs out of Boston, they had a song called Be a Father to Your Child. A great song, great message. Whatever happened to stuff like that? Whatever happened to, just, telling people, life is hard. Go and have fun. You can make it. You just got to keep trying. Don't let anybody put you down. Now it's, I got money than you, and, it's crazy.
You remember Shaquille O'Neal's
I just want to learn how to move like Jagger, and I'll be happy.
Say that again?
I just want to learn how to move like Jagger, and I'll be happy.
Yes, I love that song. That's a cool song.
It's a great song. Adam Levine is probably one of the... him and Rob Thomas are definitely ahead of their time with lyrics and really just making songs that actually say something and can get you into the emotions. When there's songs that can just, like, touch you and you have that moment where you say, fuck, I've been there. I know how you feel. And you feel like that's, like, an epitome of a moment of a song.
I have a song like that, and it's Shaquille O'Neal's song about his biological father. Because I don't know, me and my biological father don't have a really good relationship. And whenever I hear that song, I think about that. And it's like, you know, for a guy who people don't really know for hip-hop, who they laughed at his hip-hop career, he had a very powerful song that, you know, was a great message. And it made me believe that just because I didn't have a good relationship with my biological father doesn't mean that I'm any less than anybody else. You know?
Yeah, that's a great song. Absolutely phenomenal song. That was actually the song I was going to mention before Mandy became a car and went vroom over me.
Go on an escalator and fall.
It's a great song. I mean, you know what my favorite songs are? My favorite songs are Come As You Are, Nirvana. I love that song because the message was just so simple.
Yep, just come as you are. Nobody cares what you look like, what color you are, what color your hair is, or eyes are, or whatever else, you know?
What do you think of funny songs such as The Offspring's Too Fly for a White Guy?
I love that song. For a white guy.
I love pretty much. I like Offspring. I like them. You gotta keep them separated. Love that song. I love Pretty Fly for a White Guy because, like I said, you gotta be able to poke fun at yourself sometimes. You can't be serious all the time. And Pretty Fly for a White Guy was a pretty cool song. It was a pretty good, cool song. It wasn't overly serious. It wasn't too funny, but it was funny enough where you were able to sing it and you had a good laugh at it. And now for all my white friends, do hip hop.
We all knew that kid. We all knew that kid who thought that he was like black, who wore his pants around his ankles and the wife beater and the backwards hat.
And you had to sing that song too.
And probably had like the worst acne, and nobody liked him, and he was like, "Hey, what's up, my niggas?" Everyone was like, "Yo, dude, roll off."
All right, let me ask you a question. I'm glad you brought that up. What do you guys think of the whole, what's her name, Krayshawn thing, where for a minute she was saying nigger, and you know a lot of people got on her, and they made like a big stink about it. It's not like she was a great artist anyway, but a lot of people got on her about the whole nigger thing. What are your views on this?
I say open a dictionary.
All right, you go first.
Yeah, of course. Ladies first. Thank you. I say open a dictionary and see what the technical definition of nigger is, and you'll find out that it's a bundle of sticks. So, you know, I mean.
Or it means.
It's really just an unfair thing for me to be a blonde and say for me to make blonde jokes, but say nobody else can make blonde jokes. It's kind of hypocritical. So it's like if everybody's going to run around in the rap world and the music world and in general say, yo, what's up, my nigga, what's up, and then somebody comes out and does it and they get criticized for it, it's kind of hypocritical because it's a word that has become, sadly, a common word.
Exactly.
That's very true. I mean, when I was a kid growing up, I went to an all-white school. I never saw a black person. I didn't know what they were. No offense, I mean, but until I got into the middle school and I started seeing black people, and I'm like, Ma, who are these dark-skinned people? And my mother goes, well, those are black people. I said, oh, okay. And that's just how I grew up. You know, I grew up in a very sheltered life. And my older brother came home saying that word, nigger, and my mother said, what? She said, the three of you sit in that kitchen and look that word up. She made us look that word up and write what it meant. She made us write it like 100 times. My mother did not fool around. She said, that's very ignorant. That word means ignorant, and she said, it's very disrespectful towards black people, and that's how I was raised. You know what I'm saying?
And I look at it as in, I look at it as in fighting words, to be honest with you. Because I grew up, as I stated before, in the projects and whatnot. And, before this new term cracker was there, talking about white people, I used to be called a honky all the time. So, that's just like going way back, and I didn't like that. So I'm like, well, if I don't like that, then what right do I have to call anybody, the N-word? I don't use it. I just don't like it.
It's not a nice word. It's really not. I don't like that word, and I don't like the word spick because Nicklez is our child is half black. I mean, half black, half Puerto Rican. I'm getting all confused tonight. Oh, boy. Don't mind me today. Anyways, and being half Puerto Rican, I don't like that. So I don't call anybody a rotten name like that.
This is how I see it. And, I use the word. Yeah, sure. I've always said that, and when I talk to my son, I say, this is not a word you really want to use. But I've been brought up around it, so it's kind of almost, like you said, it's led myself to my vocabulary because it's such a predominant word now. And I tell people it's a very culture-based word. If you're white and you grew up in an urban neighborhood, you've heard the word, you've actually been called the word, you've actually probably used it once or twice, because your friends are like, ain't you my nigga? I'm like, yeah, I'm your nigga. And you don't think about it. And like you said, if you're going to use the word, if you're going to make it a term of endearment, and as people like to say, it's my term of endearment now, and you want to utilize the word in almost every song or in your everyday phrase, you can't be surprised when the person next to you says it. You just can't be like, you can't say that word. Well, I'll give you a perfect example. The teacher that used the word in the classroom towards the black child. And I'll never forget when I heard about this. The black child was sitting there. He's like, can I borrow a pencil, my nigga? My nigga, can you give me some soda? My nigga, can I get some change? And then when the teacher was like, my nigga, I can't do that for you. And the student's like, oh my God, I can't believe he said, nigga, let's get him fired. Well, what do you think is going to happen? If you hear something enough times, it becomes part of your vocabulary, and it becomes the involuntary reflex. It happens, and you can't get mad when someone else uses it. Do I feel people should use it? No, but you like you said, you just can't put the word out there and then say, okay, this is our word, we can't use it, and now you can't use it on it. If you use it, we're gonna beat your ass. But I can use it. It's like the word bitch. I tell people I find the word bitch funny because a rapper can go and he can call a woman a bitch, and people will get up in arms. But then I used to work at a club. And I've worked, many places where I've heard women go, hey, I'm about to call my bitch right now. We about to go out. Or that girl right there, that's my bitch. What up, bitch? And I've heard girls talk like that. But as soon as a guy comes by and goes, what up, bitch? Oh, no, you didn't. Hold my earrings. I'm about to beat this man's ass. It's like, you can't do that. It's like an oxymoron. I can use it, but no one else can use it because it's my word. Man, come on.
Don't own the word. Nobody owns the word, and so it's out there in the public. Does it make it right? No, it doesn't make it right, but it is out there, and that's just something that people have to accept, and it's your choice, ultimately, if you are going to indulge in that behavior or if you are going to refrain and be a respectable person.
Exactly.
When I first moved to where I live, it's kind of considered a project anyways, but I was talking to a black man and his wife, and he said to me, this is how he explained it, because we were talking about that word, and he said, look, it all depends on how you're saying it. If you're walking up to somebody, yo, what's up, my nigga, what's up, man? That's fine, but if you're calling him straight out, calling him one, that's a different story. And I was like, oh, really? I watched the difference.
I always laugh at, it's funny. I had a white girlfriend. It was so hilarious, and and she's telling me like, we're talking about the word nigga. She's like, I would never say, nigga, this nigga.
Never say never.
I said that's cool. I was like, but what if we're in the bedroom and I'm like, call me a nigga? What would you say? And she just got this look on her face, like, I can't believe you would pose that question. I'm like, it's just like when you're in the bedroom, with your girl, and she's like, call me your dirty bitch. That's like, it's almost like that's the only way you can call her a bitch. Outside of you guys are fighting and she's slamming the door in the face or she's throwing a pot at you. We always have like these little stipulations of why you can't do it. And I always find it hilarious that's the way it is. And I also find hilarious that we went from talking about music and we've gone to like 5 different other subjects within this one interview, which I also find very cool.
Yeah. I mean, according to our hosting company, it said this is about over, but it's not. We've ran over before, and I really don't care. I don't follow the rules. I'm known to break them. So.
Oh, but this is fun. We need forums like this. Like I said, I'm glad you guys are doing it. We need forums like this where, everything can encompass into the topic of music. Music has a lot of influences. There's a lot of things that influence music. And, the fact that we're able to sit here and have this conversation, it's kind of like a testament to how strong music is, because you're bringing together people who, this is my first time meeting you guys, your first time, talking to me, and we've been able to connect on so many things. And it all started from the fact that, I want to interview this guy because I like his music. It's like, that's real cool.
Exactly. Just because you don't know somebody doesn't mean you can't learn about somebody. I've always believed in the whole motto of keep an open mind. And, because you lose out on so much when you close your mind and you think this certain one way has to be the right way, or this way has to be the right way, or, I don't know this person, so I can't meet them. I was never big on cliques. I just wasn't.
No, see, when I was raised, I could walk to, another neighborhood and not know anybody, but kids would be playing in the streets, and I could play with the kids. And they're like, oh, come back tomorrow, we'll be playing basketball out here. Or I could walk to a park, somebody would be playing football. Hey, we need another person. Do you know how to play? Yeah, I know how to play. And I'll go play, or, I go to a bar and it's karaoke night. And, someone's singing a song, and I know the song, so I start singing. Everybody starts singing, and we're having a great old time. Stuff like that. I love stuff like that. And to me, it's always been a testament that you don't have to know a name or where a person's from in order to sit down and have a good time with them. All you have to have is just one common little thing, whether it be a song or whether it be, like me and Mandy are both writers. So we could talk about writing all day, or we could talk about, music or whatever common ground we found. That's all we need to have, an in-depth conversation without even having to know each other, be from the same circle or from the same scene. It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. All kinds of different outlets you can go to and, see so many different kind of people. But in reality, everybody's the same. In my eyes, especially when you brought up that whole, conversation, I look at it like this, okay? Regardless of what, color you are, regardless of what nationality you are, we all bleed red, period.
We're all people. We all have feelings and, just like anybody else, I believe we're all one. Nobody should judge anybody for color, race, religion, whatever.
Yeah, I think people. My day job outside of the music is I'm a teacher's aide, and at the school I'm at, we have a very wide variety of kids from race to religion to financial background, and it's so funny to watch them play with each other because race is not an issue. Religion is not an issue. They will play with each other for hours upon hours. They don't care if you're black, if you're Spanish, if you're Jewish, Catholic. They don't care. They just want to know, can you run and kick a ball? Do you know how to play tag? Can you climb? Do you know how to swing? That is it. That is all. Anything outside of that is not their concern. It is so good for my soul to watch that because it reminds me about how simple things can be and how complex we have made relationships. I have a kid in my program who, you know, he just loves to say hi and shake people's hands. Like when you come in, if he doesn't know you, he'll look at you, and he'll wait till you look at him, and he'll go hi, and he'll shake your hand because he likes meeting new people. You know, it's like, I remember when that was the thing. Now, when I meet people, I got to be like, okay, do I really want to shake this person's hand? Is he dirty? Was he talking robbing? You know, you have all these thoughts in your head when it should just be like, okay, it's a new person, say hello, meet him. You know, and I'm like, what happened to that? What happened to that ability to just meet new people and then go off and do something with them for like an hour and you know, all of a sudden now you have a new lifelong friend that you just hold dear now. It's hard to find that now. It's like we all forgot about that.
Morals change. That's what it was. I don't know. What happened to the morals of people nowadays? It's not like back in the day. It's not at all. The way people act towards other people, oh, well, this person over here did this, and, oh, I'm going to go talk about him over here, and all kinds of stupid, crazy stuff. And you see it, and you sit there back, and you go, what is wrong with people today?
Well, I think part of the reason is due to social networks. I mean, I love social networks, but on the other hand, it's now to taught people how to be lazy and not want to go out and play anymore, not, you know, want to learn how to communicate with people.
We've lost contact. There's this game that me and my friends play whenever we go out, and it's a cell phone game. You probably heard about this. We always go, okay, everybody put their cell phones in the middle of the table. You all put their cell phones in the middle of the table. The first person who picks up the cell phone during this dinner pays for the whole dinner. And to watch people, like, hear their phone vibrating from, like, a text message or a call, and you could just see the sweat drip down their faces. And like, okay, maybe I want to answer this phone. I don't want to pay for the meal because everybody's ordering something nice. Or you can just see how nervous people are. And it's like, when did we get to that point? It's like my mother was like, I will never understand why people have cell phones. I don't understand the whole checking your email from your phone or, you know, Instagramming or Facebooking. Now that she has a phone that can do all that, that's all she does. She'll be sitting there, she'll be on her phone checking her emails, on her phone on Instagram, on her phone on Facebook. And I'm like, remember when those weren't even an option, when your phone was just able to call, and that's all you did with it? You didn't have to say, I'm going to send you an email. I'm actually going to call you and let you know that we're going somewhere today. I wasn't going to text you. I may stop by your house and say, hey, let's go hang out. Now let's get on Skype and then look at each other for an hour and watch TV. Let's legitimately hook up at your house. I'll bring the popcorn. You bring the drinks, and we'll sit there and we'll watch something. We'll have fun. We'll have people over. We'll leave the house and go to a beach or to a park. Now everybody say, okay, at 5 o'clock I'll be at my house. I'll meet you online and we'll play Halo for like $1 million.
Exactly.
And I'll talk to you on my headset.
My mother is 65 years old and she never knew how to do any of that. And she finally, now she has a laptop and she has a cell phone. And it just cracked me up to watch her. Because I'm like, Ma, you were never interested in this. Now all of a sudden you got a laptop, you got a phone. I'm like, what is up with you, Ma? It's so funny.
It was like, when I first got into my program, you know, I almost fainted when I had to explain to kids how to play kickball. I was like, you don't know how to play kickball? It's like, is there anything like a video game? I'm like, no, it's kickball. You run the ball and you kick it. You run around the base. It's simple. It's as simple as you can get. It's funny how the kids interact. You know, it's like we've got to a point where it's all digital now. Like, remember when, if I needed to call you, if I need to say, hey, Mandy, I need you to call up, you know, Blog Talk Radio and tell them I'll be there. Instead of just calling you up and doing it, I'm like, okay, I'm going to text her. Or no, I'm not going to text her. I'm going to email her, and hopefully she checks her email and gets this message instead of just calling you up and saying, hey, This is my voice. I want you to hear me give you this message. It's like we forgot all about that. It's always. I remember speed dating. Now people don't even speed date.
Oh God, I remember hearing about that. It's crazy.
Now people are on OkCupid, and they're doing that instead of actually going out and actually, meeting someone and doing that. Now it's all, I'm gonna go online. I'm gonna put up my best picture. Hopefully she puts up her little picture, so I don't get catfished. And we're gonna talk and we're gonna have this. I've seen people have relationships online and not meet a person. And I've always found that weird. I mean, it's like you gotta at least see the person, talk to the person, something. People have had this. I've seen people get married online. And I always found that weird. Like, how can you get married online? You don't know the person. You never lived with the person. What happened? Where did we go wrong where this is like the norm now?
Yeah. I totally understand. What's funny is I remember being a kid, and there was a raffle. Whoever sold the most candy, won an Apple IIc computer. Now, granted, there was no internet back in them days. There was no such thing. But I won the raffle, and I was so happy just to have a computer. And now people, if they don't have their cell phones, forget about it,
Oh, it's just like people can't live. I remember a coworker of mine. She had left her phone at home. We're talking. We're at the work. She left the phone at home. I thought she was gonna have a nervous breakdown. She had to call to get someone to bring her phone to her because the fact that her phone wasn't within reach was just too much to bear. And I'm like, wow. I remember before cell phones were big, no one really, when they were the big clunky blocks that came with a shoulder strap, no one cared about always having a cell phone. You had a quarter, you went to the payphone. You had a phone card. No one cared about having a cell phone. And now if you don't have a cell phone, you're a caveman.
Yeah, because you can't find a payphone no more.
Yeah, there used to be beepers back in the day, too. That was a big thing.
I remember beepers. You had little codes to put in the beeper to give the people. Then if they flip it upside down, they get the message. I think we've lost, with social media and the technical age, we've lost creativity. We've lost social contact. We're raising a bunch of kids who lack charisma to be social. It's just so weird. It's like, okay, I don't need to set up a play date between your son and my son because I have internet, you have internet, I have a Wii, you have a Wii. They can just get on the Wii and play a game with each other online without having to physically look at each other. And that's become okay. I'm happy that my son has gotten into skateboarding. I'm so happy about that because he skateboards with a bunch of his friends. And a bunch of his friends skateboard, and they go out and they'll hang out outside and skateboard. And it's like, wow, okay, kids can actually still go outside and, not burn from the sunlight.
That's awesome. All right, Mandy, you want to add anything?
I'm polishing my toenails.
She is polishing her toenails while she's wearing her green mud mask.
Yeah, so I'm wearing my green mud mask and, shaving. No, I don't know. I'm just listening to everything that everybody's saying and just taking it all in because I do remember. I mean, I really can't say much more because I do remember the big cell phones. I have the Zach Morris cell phone. I remember the pagers, and it was like, if you want to tell me you love me, send out 134 or 143 or
143. I remember. Oh
yeah.
My God.
So it's like, and then I look at my cell phone now, and I remember my mom having a flip phone forever, and then finally getting an iPhone. And first she's like, I'm never gonna know how to work this thing. And now she texts all over the place. Granted, the text, the font is the size of my head, so that she could see it. But it's like she now knows how to text, and she'll text me from the other room. Are you awake? Are you sleeping? Are you
Oh my God. I have done that, and I felt so bad about doing that. Where I could just walk up. I am not getting up out of this chair. What are we having to eat? Okay, bring me a piece. It's like we've got something. I remember movie night and game night.
Yeah.
I remember having Twister, Life, Checkers, Chutes and Ladders.
I love Chutes and Ladders.
I remember me and my family were very competitive over Uno. You put an Uno deck in front of us, and it was like World War III.
Oh my God, I was the queen of Uno. I was Una.
And now, I used to play Scrabble. I mean, we used to have trivia night. I remember when those were like the big things now, and now, someone's idea of a movie date is, okay, I'm on Skype, you're on Skype, you have Netflix, I have Netflix, we're going to watch the same movie. And then stare at our computer screen while staring at the TV screen. And, that's our movie night. That's our ideal movie night. Instead of just going out to an actual movie theater or like watching a movie in the same room.
You know what it is? I think the people have where the computers, the video games, the Google, the this, the that. I think that became our babysitters. A lot of people became lazy, and that's what they use as their babysitters to watch their kids, so they can go off and have 5 minutes to themselves, or have 5 minutes to do the dishes, or cook dinner, or whatever.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been to programs where we had a program at my school, at a school I worked at one night, and the parents went and they toured the school while the kids stayed in the cafeteria, and we had games out for them to play and Legos and stuff. And the majority of the kids had Kindles or iPads, and it was like a group of kids huddled around this one kid, and they're just playing on the iPad, not saying anything to each other except for when is my turn, and they're sitting there just in tune. And I'm like, I remember when I would lay out a bunch of Legos in front of kids, and that would keep them busy for hours and hours on time, and they create spaceships and monsters and whole battle scenes for Legos. And now it's like you put Legos in front of the kids, and he's like, okay, how do I go online with this? This is a little Angry Bird. What are you doing?
Our son's 13, and he can do the Lego thing, but he can also do the video game thing. And I like the fact that if we go to my mother-in-law's, he'll bring his Legos and sit and play with them. Or if we go somewhere else, he'll bring his Legos and play with them instead of bringing a video game.
And some kids don't have it. Like, I love the fact that with my son, we still horseplay. We'll still wrestle. We'll play sports. We'll still have an interaction with each other. And it's like, I can see where some parents, I can see them sitting, waiting to be called at like Denny's or IHOP or something, and the dad's on his phone, the mom's on his phone, the son's on his iPad, the other son's on his phone, and no one's talking to each other. They're just sitting there and they're texting away. And I'm like, wow, you guys aren't even going to speak to each other? Like, hey, how you doing? Good day. Thanks for bringing me out here. It's like none of that is. No one does that. I would wonder what happened to the world if, if the entire internet would crash.
Don't say that. I lose my job. I'd have no income.
No, you see, you would have to resort to using a typewriter.
Well,
you remember that?
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar.
When I was, I remember home ec in school. I remember we had home ec in school, and we learned how to cook, we learned how to balance a checkbook, and we had typing lessons.
Do you know I failed home ec in I failed home ec because I had to sew, and I didn't know how to sew anything. I was like, screw this, I'm not sewing a pair of boxers. I'm never going to have to do this. I can just buy a pair if I get bored.
That's where we're at, though. That's where I remember when I used to have to sew and learn how to clean. I'm like, why should I have to clean? There's a laundromat like right down the street. I could just bring my stuff to. Or I could bring it to the dry cleaner and then have them take care of my stuff. Or it's like we've forgotten what it means to do stuff. Like, remember doing a lemonade stand? You'd actually make the lemonade yourself and sell it. And now kids' ideas of having a lemonade stand is putting up a little box, going to buy some Minute Maid lemonade, and they're pouring it in the glasses as people drive by. It's like we've lost the work ethic.
Yeah, exactly. It's like people want to go camping with an RV.
Yeah, it's like people want the family aspects too.
But come on. Okay, I was a Boy Scout. When my idea of camping was being in a fly-infested forest, we zipped up the tent. We're cold as hell. We're sleeping on our sleeping bags, but on rocks and hard, jagged ground. And we learned how to dig up little potatoes from the ground, and we brought cans of pork and beans, and we did some fishing. That was camping. Now it's like you're bringing on your little house with all the amenities that you have at home. It's like you should just stay at home. It's like you're not really doing camping.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's been fun, man. I'd love to, chat with you all night and whatnot, and but unfortunately, we got about 10 minutes here. So if Mandy, if you can think of something real quick, and you want to talk to him about, or I will, or one of us will. We got 10 minutes here. That's it.
Okay. Let's see. Why have you not gotten new pictures taken for your Facebook since 2008? Because I kind of want to know what you look like now, not 5 years ago.
I actually do have some. I uploaded some new pictures. I have pictures for my son's, what they call a promotional exercise party. Well, I call it a graduation party. I have pictures up from that. I do have some new pictures sprinkled up. I haven't done a legitimate photo shoot in a long time now. One, because I'm too busy, and two, because I'm just lazy. So I've been putting the call to my friends to go do a photo shoot. But I will, for you, I will go out and get better pictures and more recent pictures just for you, because I know you're concerned about that.
I am, and I think maybe just go into a photo booth and take like 4 pictures of yourself smiling, or I don't know, doing something fun. It's necessary.
All right, I will do that. I will make sure that is my mission, to go take more pictures, because I need to update my 2008 pictures, because people are in an uproar.
Well, it's a big uproar. It's a movement on Washington.
Yeah.
Now, what can you tell us about the Bodega Beat Shop?
When I first started making music, when I first started making beats, a friend said, you should do a beat CD. You should just create a beat CD of just a different array of beats. So I sat down and I started just making beats using sampling from everything. I weaved movie samples within the beat CD, and that was the Bodega Beat Shop, which was to me, that was like my first official, release project that I actually took time, had someone professionally do the cover. I actually thought about how I was going to place the songs and the skits in, and I actually put a lot of time and effort into it. And it's gotten me a lot of business production-wise. Thanks to that, I worked with people from Canada, Portland, Texas, California, New York, New Jersey. So that's kind of like a great building block project for me.
Okay, because I kind of made it probably in the article, which I'll probably have to review. I kind of made it like an actual shop that people could go to and listen to some beats. And clearly I was wrong.
No, don't change that, because you inspired me to do that. And I'm actually opening up a Jack Nicklez Beat YouTube page, which I will entitle The Beat Bodega. So you inspired me to do that, so don't change that. So you're good. You're covered.
Okay, good.
Well, if you'd like, we could always use a beat for a radio show. Just throwing it out there.
Oh, of course, it's the least I can do for you guys, making me feel like I'm actually, famous. So I will sit down and I will work on a intro for you guys. That'll be like my contribution to the show.
you have to understand that you are, if you think you're famous, you are famous. And now it's time for Amanda's brief psychiatrist story that everybody's already heard 15 times about being a banana. When I went to a psychiatrist one time, she tried to diagnose me with something, and I asked her, I was like, well, I kind of feel like I might be this. I don't even remember what it was. I don't even know. And she was like, well, if you think you are, then you probably are. And I said, so if I think I'm a banana, that means I'm a banana. So, if you think that you're famous, you probably are famous under the guidelines of the psychiatrist.
You know what?
Well,
that is my new
really,
quote now.
fame is just knowing people. Just people knowing people.
Networking
with people.
I think like I told my son, I've got to a point with my career, since I've been doing it for so long, that the fact that I have a great network of people that I have met in this industry, including you guys and girls, you know, I feel like I'm pretty famous in that, you know, I feel very complete in my career. Now, I've worked with and had a chance to meet a lot of interesting people who I probably wouldn't have met outside of music, and it's kind of like, you know, this is cool. I mean, you know, it's something that I do for fun, that I just, you know, I do because I have a love for the music, and I'm meeting people who share the like-mind love, and it's, you know, we could just sit down and talk about music for hours, and it's like, wow. You know, it's like, well, I went to a Yankees game, and they came me out to the ball game, and everybody was singing. We were all just singing into it. We're having fun. No one cared about anything. And it's like, wow, this is, you know, I like doing this. I like doing this, making something that people will connect to and go, hey, this is pretty cool. I like this song. Thank you for doing it. Thank you for listening. It's like, it's probably one of the only art forms where you can give and receive equal
well, a true
amount.
performer will be just as happy performing in front of one person as they would 100,000 people. So it's kind of like, if you're really somebody who's into being a creative person, it doesn't matter if you've touched one person or you've touched a million people. If somebody knows who you are for what you've done, then you've done your job and you've done it well.
And I think it's the most honest form of interaction, because I always tell people, I make the music, but if you don't listen to the music, nothing happens. So it's almost like a give and take. I do this because you accept it, and you accept it because I do it. You know, it's very equal. It's a 50-50 thing. You know, if you love it, I make it, and I enjoy it because you enjoy it. So we're both taking something, and we're both getting an equal amount from. It's not like I'm making it and you gotta like it no matter what, or I gotta do what you like. If you like it, you like it, and you know you'll let me know, and I'll be like, okay, she likes it. Let me make more stuff like this. It's a happy equivalent exchange.
All right, man. Well, the biggest thing you could do for us is tell everyone you know about Till Time Radio, and tell them you had a lot of fun, and that would mean the world to. I know at least me. I'm sure Mandy, as well as Kristen over here.
Definitely, yep.
And, it would help us out. Even if you don't get a chance to make a beat for us, if you could at least tell people, that would be awesome.
Well, you guys are already scattered all over my Twitter, my Facebook, my Tumblr, my feed, my Instagram. So, you're everywhere. Trust me. I will sing your praises from now on everywhere. Everywhere.
That makes us feel good, It makes us feel like rock stars.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
all right.
Well, you got a great. So, thumbs up.
All right. We're just gonna wrap this up here. We're talking with Jack Nicklez, correct? Did I get your name right?
Yes.
A kick-ass MC and a magnificent producer here.
We thank you for coming on, and we've really enjoyed talking to you. It's a lot of fun.
Any last words before we get out of here?
You can follow him on Twitter at Jack, JackNicklez. So definitely follow him on Twitter so that you can learn about all the cool stuff that's coming up with him.
That, always listen to Showtime. Great people. You'll have great fun. You hear great stuff. You'll learn great stuff, and you'll be better for it. And remember, live life to live. It's important. If you take anything else from this, it's to live life to live.
And live it to the fullest, of course, you know? And enjoy it, because you never know when your last day is.
And
you
don't
can enjoy
eat
it more.
snow.
That's right. And you can enjoy your life more if you listen to Showtime. That's just saying.
Very true, very true. Well, it's been fun. On behalf of Teal Time Radio, you have yourself a wonderful night, and thank you again. We certainly will have you on the show again if you'd like to come back.
And God bless you and your family.
Thank you, guys.
All right, take care, man.
Take care.
Have a good night.
You too.
All right, well, on behalf of CC Jags,
Miss Chrissy,
Princess Mandy. I came up with a name.
I like the name.
all right, y'all have a wonderful evening, and be sure to listen to us all week, even though it still says to be announced. I'm sure I'll fill it up.
Of course, I'm sure we will.
All right.
Have a great
wonderful
night,
evening.
everybody.
Take care.
God bless.